to contest, as weird as it sounds, Krug Camp. SOFM loves enemy Krug Camp.
And Raptors. He likes the small camps that belong to enemies. The big buffs are kind of a wishy-washy. Yep. I don't really need it.
He doesn't need those big buffs, but he definitely loves the small camps. For now, though, we're going to head straight into Champion Select for game number 1 between Snake Esports and Vici Gaming of this Best of 5 series. And already the bans have come out. Snake, they're going to be banning away Shen as well as Karma as their first bans, whereas Vici, they take away the Gangplank.
I pretty much think that Shen ban should be targeted every single time at Vici. Long should never get his hands on that champion. He's proved far too successful with it.
Speaking of targeted, I'm pretty sure Vici's strategy revolves around don't give Flandre his best champions that he has been carrying with for consecutive splits.
As they should, as Na's going to be the second ban that comes out for Vici. The final ban that Snake decided to pick up is going to be the Vladimir.
Poor Easyhoon, he's never going to get his hands on that champion. Before Vladimir even broke out on the LPL stage when CA brought it out, Easyhoon was having it permabanned away from him.
It also opens up the Malzahar as one of the outstanding mid laners still available for Snake to flex. I don't think they go for the immediate first pick on it, but it's worth considering.
As Rek'Sai is going to be the final ban from Vici on the red side of Summoner's Rift.
I think that's just such a staple red side ban right now. I think blue side Rek'Sai is far too strong, especially for SOFM as a type of jungler, just due to the gank path that immediately runs bottom. Skip your blue buff, immediately pick up your red as well as 2 small camps, and then tunnel behind the enemy bot lane and pick up first blood.
So that does mean that 2 junglers are left available in Gragas and Elise. They should be looked towards. However, the decision from Snake is mid.
Yeah, it's going to be Lissandra that gets picked up first. And we're kind of talking about how 6.15 is a great patch for Easyhoon, and Lissandra is one of his best champions, so Snake take it away.
And this was also the other question to what were Snake going to do with their priority pick. Again, by winning that tiebreaker, they got side selection, they picked for the blue side, so they obviously had a plan in mind. It's a fairly straightforward one, but the question remains, is that a top Lissandra or is it a mid Lissandra? It definitely fits more in Tank's wheelhouse as he's the big Lissandra player, but anything is possible with Snake.
I will say Echo's actually a big consideration when you look at the bans right now on Summoner's Rift. 3 of the top 4 were gone, and Echo is that 4th remaining.
And Echo is going to get locked in immediately here for Lung. Dandy also picks up the Tongue Kench, which should be Caveman support.
The other big staple champion of top for the LPL playoffs. He's been played, I believe, 18 times through the playoff gauntlet.
I think we saw him in majority of the games yesterday as well. All 3 games that it was picked up by either EDG or RNG, so a very strong top lane, has been seeing a lot of play internationally and never really fell out of favor in the LPL.
I mean, Mouse had an interview about Echo yesterday, and he pretty much said he just does everything well. He's always going to get the push, he can disengage from 1v1 trades really well, and he can also use his ultimate as opposed to burning his teleport cooldown to get cheeky backs and buy advantages on the enemy top laner. So he's just got so much good stuff packed into one great kit.
Well, Snake have locked in their next 2 picks. It's going to be Sivir as well as Trundle that get picked up by them. Most likely going to be a Trundle support, unless we see it flex for Flandre in the top lane.
We have very rarely seen Trundle actually be top lane anymore. Of course, he is into the Echo and he could give it a crack, but it's just not worth it. Flandre's got deep pockets.
Meanwhile, Vici decided to take away the Malzahar, which is a flex pick from the side of Snake. SOFM has been running that into the jungle, and Tank has taken it into the mid lane before. This time around, Easyhoon will get his hands on that champion, as Gragas is going to be Dandy's jungler of choice.
But the fact that that's pressure, we said Malzahar would be a power pick available. Again, it fits both of these mid laners' identities, but the fact that you're in a position across from Snake, we probably have to take the Malzahar because we've seen the damage that SOFM can do with this champion in the jungle.
Now, SOFM still has the option of a Nidalee remaining. He does know it's into the Gragas, and he could try and just power farm away from him and get ahead on Summoner's Rift without interacting, but the expectation's always going to be Elise, the remaining S-tier jungler.
The jungler that SOFM has performed incredibly well on so far. Likes his aggressive champions to go in as early as possible, which he gets locked in. We're even going to see Flandre pick up the Irelia in the top lane.
So Irelia right now has the highest win rate of any top laner on 6.15 in the LPL. So great pickup for Flandre here. I also really like the high priority of Elise. I agree with Rusty that I think she's an S-tier jungle pick simply because she farms incredibly quickly. She's got great siege potential with her W, as well as her pressure that she brings to lanes and a pick composition.
And the final pick that comes out from Vici is going to be their AD carry, as Endless is going to be picking up the Ashe.
And speaking of pick composition, it's the Ashe Malzahar once again. Gragas also able to complement that, and Echo complements even further once the initial CC has been placed down. So Vici running themselves very much a pick composition, rotation heavy though.
We even have the Tahm Kench being picked up by Vici, which EDG used very successfully in their pick comps in their grand finals against RNG, so we'll have to see if Caveman can replicate what was used yesterday.
My immediate flag for Vici's composition, I think it's brilliantly put together. It's about execution, but it's also about the fact that Easy Hoon on that Malzahar pick is going to be pretty much relegated to just holding down Lysandre. He's not going to be impacting his side lanes, which means there's that much more pressure on Long and Endless and Caveman to win their lanes organically.
Well, if there's anyone you can give that pressure on over to, is going to be Long under top lane. He's up against Flandre here today, a superstar top laner who's been performing incredibly well for Snake ever since Spring Split even.
Bit scary though, the Aurelia versus Echo matchup.
Yeah, the Aurelia does quite well into it, so there's an opportunity there for Snake to get something done with Flandre, have a winning lane, which means SOFM has an avenue of attack.
We'll have to see if SOFM will have that avenue of attack, because he is a creative jungler. We've seen him do some unique and interesting things for Snake at level 1, and that's definitely something we have to keep an eye out for as we head into this first game.
Again, priority usually is on getting Flandre ahead, making sure that they have the top wave constantly pushing down, so Flandre and SOFM can invade and challenge the enemy jungler together. So all eyes should really be on the top lane as the immediate target and focus for at least SOFM. And now Ball's in Dandy's court. Are you going to try to snowball the bot lane ahead, or are you going to try to match SOFM's aggression?
So the way I see both of these team comps right now is they're similar pick comps early game, and the team fighting actually would look good for Vici as they get late game, but SOFM should predictably be going mid to work with the Lysandre. That's his major point of attack.
Well, let's see if they can do just that, because we are on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1 of this best of 5 series between Snake Esports and Vici Gaming.
Of course, Tank getting his Lysandre, the big coveted pick for him. Usually it's permaband away from him. He entered his LPL career on this champion, used it to great success in the Caspa Cup when he got to play his first major tournament. Watch how he uses terrain and Fog of War through his Glacial Claw. I think that's the difference between good Lysandres and great Lysandres, is how they hide that ability. It's fairly telegraphed because it's so slow moving.
And our observers were kind enough to show us that it's going to be another Infernal Dragon that spawns here first. A specialty in the LPL playoffs, moving into the Gauntlet as well. Seems like most of the games we get the Infernal Drakes.
Makes sense. LPL logo going to Worlds, Fire Dragon. Actually just does make a lot of sense. Also just one of the most dangerous dragons to have. It's not an early game Drake, so you can afford to give one away. But if you hit late game, which I think it's predictable to say Vici will want, then you will have a big deal behind that Drake.
It is curious that Snake are opting for more of a defensive fan. Again, they're one of the only teams in the LPL that have tried mixing up with different level 1 strategies on 6.15, now that we have broken down into standard lanes. But I guess safe to say it's the first game of a best of 5. They've got a very long day ahead of them, so they opt for the standard safe start.
So we'll see both AD carries and support start off at a camp at level 1, neither moving in for a cheeky level 1 invade to disrupt the camps being taken down. SOFM will start at his blue buff, whereas Dandy starts straight at his red buff. Both junglers will smite that one away at the same time.
Yeah, an entirely standard start now. Everyone just getting their level 2s early in the bottom lane. That's where things do start to develop a disparity of at least a small amount. Ash usually does well into Sivir, dependent on lane control. Having the Tahm Kench means that Endless should not be taking a lot of damage, but the Trundle's also a bit of a bruiser when you look at the bottom lane 2v2 matchup. So I think it matches out that Snake will have control.
It's also very different about how they chip away at each other. Sivir obviously able to damage you while she pushes the creep way forward using her Ricochet, whereas I feel like Ashe gets a lot more power once she has you underneath that turret, and she's able to continually barrage you with volleys. One
of the other things as well, similar to Caitlyn, Ashe has the unique strength of just the volley trading. It's actually just one of the most damaging spells in a 1v1 trade, which is why the Jay-Z Trundle has to come into effect to win it outright. At the moment, he's losing.
Let's move up towards the top side of the map. Flandre actually taking quite a bit of damage from Long very early on here. Aurelia being pushed underneath this turret by the Echo.
It's always just a waiting game when it comes to Aurelia. She's got skill-based matchups in most of the top lane matchups, but again, the big breaking point is going to be around that 140, 150 CS mark, because eventually Aurelia's just going to do Aurelia things as soon as she has her Trinity Force. Much more an item-dependent champion than levels.
Let's move in towards the mid lane. Easyhoon getting a lot of damage down on towards Tank there, as now SFM being found by Dandy. Gets body slammed and slowed down. Long is trying to chase him down as well. The Spider has to be incredibly careful because Dandy's cooldown's coming back up. Gets the body slam, gets over the wall, and Long's able to pick up first blood.
Disaster for Snake right now. Again, SOFM, when he's put behind, he doesn't really know how to get back afloat. Also on the bonus that Long now has double buff on the top side.
That was a really good rotation from Long, most importantly. Remember that Echo's E likes to follow flashes and other movement interactions. Disrespect from SOFM. He could have flashed over that wall a little bit earlier and avoided the body slam. And look at the spillover effect. Tank wasn't able to rotate, doesn't have his W available, has the claw and 2 points in his Q.
Let's move up towards the top side of the map. Long has that double buff now, like we mentioned, going to be able to be incredibly oppressive here against Flandre on the Aurelia.
This is, again, just so important because not only will this shut down Flandre, he's in for a really rough ride now, but it now opens up so much more space for Dandy to have his way with the mid, the top lane, and more importantly, SOFM. And again, that guy is a very selfish, greedy jungler. His coach has said it. He has said it about himself. When he falls behind, he really struggles to get his footing.
Because this is what we expect from SOFM, moving into the opposition's jungle, trying to find the opposition, trying to take away their small cans, but it's Dandy that has found SOFM. It's Dandy that's doing the counter jungling. SOFM really on the back foot to start off in this game.
And it goes back to this idea that it's much more important for Vici's win condition that Dandy just disrupts SOFM. He doesn't necessarily have to carry for his lanes or facilitate them. They just need to hang on. But if he can find SOFM and slow him down, Snake are so much more reliant on SOFM snowballing them ahead.
Yeah, we said this yesterday even about Clearlove and MLXG, and it was the RNG's jungler's job to find Clearlove and stop him. SOFM looking to be a pest, just take away from Dandy, but because Dandy is one step ahead of him, it actually just benefits Vici across the board.
Well, Dandy has not only found SOFM, he's taken him down once as well and has given his top lane a nice advantage. Mid lane can just keep seeing EasyHoon pushing in against Tank. This bottom lane though still slightly favor Snakes. They try to push this lane into Endless and Caveman.
And frankly, SOFM really hasn't been tested like this very often. You have to remember that Snake came out of Group A, and in our regional qualifier, we have 4 teams. 3 of them are from Group B, which was undisputably the much tougher and much more rigorous group from the LPL.
Checking with SOFM again, still trying to make sure Dandy can't take as many resources away from his jungle after falling slightly behind. Both junglers opting to pick up the Hunter's Potion very early, so we'll be kept nice and healthy throughout the rest of this game. Won't have to be forced to recall anytime soon.
Yeah, less aggression from itemization, also just prioritizing having wards available as they really want to find each other and stop ganks from going on.
And still a lot of pushing coming out from Crystal as well as Jay-Z on the bottom side of the map. Endless and Caveman now forced to farm underneath their turret. But it still is looking good for Endless and Caveman. They're slightly ahead in terms of CS.
Yeah, they're perfectly fine right now. Again, it's this idea that Vici's solo lanes, they just need to sit back, chill, farm up. They want to go to that late game anyway. They've got great pick potential once this map starts opening up and these towers start falling down.
And like, yes, it's going fine for Vici. It's actually going better than you'd first expect because of the lane control they had early.
You see above 10 CS lead for Endless at the moment as both AD carries go back to base. They pick up a BF sword for themselves. We move back in towards mid lane. Tank seems like he's been struggling against EasyHoon because of all the pushing power that's come out from these Voidlings, but he stayed very even in terms of CS for now.
Again, EasyHoon's only job right now is to just hold Tank down, make sure that he's only using that TP to buy himself back into his lane for this item advantage. But the longer that he can keep Lissandra here and not in the side lanes, the better.
Same thing can be said about the top side of the map as well as Flandre and Long. Very even in CS.
Yeah.
Flandre making sure he does what he can to not die to the double buffed Echo. Has now lost those buffs. And SOFM works on his blue buff. Dandy is
level
making his way over as well, is level 6. Gets a good sweeper down, trying to spot out the vision. Suddenly Tank's rotating over as well. We'll be able to root him down. Dandy knocks him back into a wall. Doesn't get it far back enough for the Malzahar to pick him up, but stops the blue buff being picked up by Snake's mid laner.
And unfortunately, EasyHoon not able to follow up with that hard CC. That was cute. Not able to follow up with the hard CC, didn't want to burn his flash. Doesn't have the ghost, opted for the cleanse into this matchup, so couldn't power his way around that corner.
I mean, whilst they didn't get the kill on a Tank, you have to remember that he's now burned basically all of his potions. I think there's one remaining. He's lost a lot of health, which means EasyHoon has lane control. Yes, they didn't get the kill, but the cooldown from Gragas' ultimate will be up sooner rather than later, and they can continue this pressure now through Dandy.
No blue buff for Tank. Doesn't have the lost chapter that we saw EasyHoon pick up earlier. He should be able to pick up his own blue buff later. Meanwhile, on the bottom, Crystals been hit by an arrow, forced to use on that to try and run away, but it's been eaten up by Caveman and delivered to the Ash, who flashes forward. Long comes down to pick up his second kill, as Jay-Z is now the man in trouble. He tries to run away from the three-man squad of Vici, but it's not going to be enough, because Endless picks up the third kill for Vici Gaming.
This is the bottom lane of Vici working proactively with Lung. Two members of this team that you don't expect to say about in this first game. They're coming up huge.
And that's the big difference between why Vici have found success on the back half of their playoff run. It's not just their superstars stepping up and Easy and Dandy. We expect that of them, but it's success when Endless, Caveman, and Long show up to the party.
So they get 2 picks in the bottom lane, immediately rotate on over towards the Infernal Dragon, which Vici take down uncontested by sofm. The next dragon to spawn is going to be another Infernal Drake.
So much fire on Summoner's Rift in the LPL playoffs.
That said, with the TP being burned bottom and Long again picking up more kills as well as assists, it does leave Flandre a lot of time with his waves. He's short of that CS discrepancy that he was sitting in a hole for, as well as gotten great damage to try to look for a first brick on top tower.
That turret is less than a third of its health at the moment, so should be enough for Flandre to push down if Long does leave his lane again.
That was interesting priority actually from Vici. I think the death timers were too low for them to consider pushing the turret down and getting the first bonus gold on that structure.
So turning on the dragon instead.
So they go for the easy option of the Drake, because yes, it's an important Drake to have, especially considering the second one being another Infernal, but it also means that there's roughly 650 gold up for grabs to the first person who gets it. Flandre having that bonus damage means that if sofm just walks up and pressures Long out of lane, he could be in trouble because he doesn't have teleport.
But for now, Vici do not lose a turret in their trade for the Dragon, so still advantage for them to start things off. As both the AD carries and supports return to the bottom lane, neither opting to rotate towards the top side of the map after the initial skirmish that we just saw.
Which is a bit surprising because again...
Hang on, that's a QSS Lissandra first item. He hasn't even got Negatron against the Malzahar. He is just blatantly against being stunned.
Tank does not like the suppression.
What are you doing?
Well, he's also facing across from an Ashe.
Run cleanse.
Yeah.
Like a single summoner spell and save you 1,300 gold.
I was going to wait till the arrow hit him, and then he didn't have cleanse, and point out, oh yeah, he's got the teleporter. How's that working out for you?
Well, now he's got QSS, so very little damage on Tank for now, but we'll be able to avoid a lot of damage. Can negate a lot of the magic damage that comes out from Vici's squad, but still, Lissandra can't pick anyone off.
What else
damage
negates
does?
magic damage? Negatron Cloak goes into Abyssal Scepter.
Hold on though, Dandy at the top side as well as Easy Coon, so they are going to force this down for the first brick.
You on the bottom side of the map, Snake looking to try and get the collapse on towards Endless, and Caveman does get eaten up by the Time Kench and runs straight back to safety. Now it's just a rush to see who's going to be able to take down the first turret, and it seems like Vici have the upper hand here as long as Dandy get the work done and get the first turret gold.
That's just a brilliant rotation from Vici to understand that there was the 650 gold up for grabs possibly on Flandre's side, so they make the counter rotation. They know that sofm possibly looking for the top side, just push it over.
Yeah, 388 gold apiece between jungle and top lane of Vici, which is a massive amount of gold that they're now going to receive. Dandy already putting in work, will be even stronger, can afford to go his Runic Echoes build and do a lot of damage with Lung, even though he's going the tank build. Still scaling his...
Hello?
Ada Spiderling, 5 gold.
Was it worth it?
I have no comment, really, on that. That was unfortunate. He was still in the crop, not running away.
You've got to aim for the big spider, not the small ones there. Endless, he uses the arrow, doesn't connect and doesn't find a pick for Vici, but still, Snake, they're falling further and further behind. They're about 1,500 gold behind Vici, who have 3 kills, the first turret taken down, as well as the only Infernal Dragon that's been picked up so far.
The scary thing is the space and control that Vici have on the map right now. There's no reason to be on the bottom side of the map, so they're fine having that wave push into them and just having Endless and Caveman sit back and free farm it. There's a lot more objectives on the top side of the map, in particular that blue buff about to spawn for sofm. We've seen Dandy contest it twice now. See if they'll go for a third time. I think the back's a little bit untimely.
Decides not to for now. They do have a ward over the blue buff, so they know that it's being picked up by Tank and sofm.
I trusted you, Dandy, and you let me down.
Instead, he opts to take down his own red buff, moves towards the top side of the map to try and stop this push that's coming out from Crystal and Flandre. So Snake rotate their AD carry and support to the top side of the map, looking to try and take down this top lane outer turret, which was taking a lot of damage previously from Flandre. Here comes that teleport from Snake.
I don't know if they want this.
Right behind the back lines. They've got all 5 members in the top lane, but during this time, Endless is still split pushing on the bottom side of the map. Flandre forced to teleport.
Yeah, so they forced to teleport out of Flandre. This is also the strongest members of Vici sitting under that turret together. deterring Snake from making the play. Forces a teleport. Thankfully, they have 2 of them. But now Vici have a window of opportunity where Lung has his own, and nobody from Snake does.
And just another slight macro advantage for Vici in the end. They're just outplaying Snake across the map.
I feel like Snake are outplaying themselves in this early game, though. And the real concern here is if you're giving any kind of small advantages to a team like Vici, they can run away with those.
Very good at playing from ahead. We call them the team of 1,000 cuts because typically they chip away at you. But the thing is if you give them a lead, they know exactly where they need to be at the map and when. They're one of the more cerebral and more intelligent teams in the LPL in terms of map movement.
It's like WE. They call them the 35-minute team, but they actually can still win before 35 minutes if you give them the opportunities to do so. This applies in the exact same way.
Well, already Vici in a very comfortable spot. The next Dragon's going to be coming up in 45 seconds. Another Infernal Dragon, something that Vici would definitely look towards. See if they can get the contest against Snake.
It's not a lot of big breakpoints across itemization outside the top lane. So your Trinity Force finish for Flandre as well as the Iceborne Gauntlet and a Giant Spell sitting for long. So this...
Ooh.
That's unfortunate.
Arrow coming up from Endless, forces the flash from Flandre.
Yeah, gets the Summoner Spell out of the Aurelia, which means neither Summoner Spell is remaining for him. Big item spike, but can't 1v2 outright.
So they send Ashe as well as Tarkench towards the top side of the map, but Dragon's coming up in 10 seconds.
And that was the bigger point, is that with this Dragon coming up, if they were going to try to pull the trigger initially on 5v5ing for it, there's not a lot of items to work with. As
But Endless,
caught.
he's been caught out. Flandre spots him out on a ward. Caveman has to walk up to try and threaten to save the Ashe even, but heal being used by Endless.
That's the Trinity Force power spike. Endless has no items, of course, will be taking a lot of damage from the Aurelia from here on out. Gives the window of opportunity for Snake, knowing that Ashe has to recall.
And they start up the Infernal Dragon. sofm tanking this one up. Crystal as well as Jay-Z and Flandre looking to burst this one down. And Vici decided to just give it up and give it over to Snake.
And the best play of the game from Snake so far was on the back of Flandre finding a pick. So it's not sofm that's being the primary facilitator for success. It's Flandre.
And everything's just on fire. The next Infernal Dragon to come up is going to be another Infernal Drake.
Yeah.
Burn, baby, burn.
A whole lot of fire. Another thing that they'll have to fight for at this stage. So you look towards the next 6 minutes of play and see who gets the advantages, because thus far it has been Vici, but with these item spikes coming about, you're starting to see more and more from Snake.
Well, you see those item spikes. Flandre has picked the Trinity Force in the top lane. Runic Echo has been completed by sofm. We do see Crystal moving more towards the Essence Reaper build on this Sivir. Flip side of the map, Lung opting not to go for the Trinity Force, instead picks up the Iceborne Gauntlet as his first item.
The big tanky member for his team. There's a lot of control on Vici's composition between Echo, Gragas, as well as Tom Kench. Likewise, when Malzahar gets his Rylai's online, he can apply that to pretty much every single ability in his kit, including his Voidlings, as it gives him a 20% slow, which I find a bit ridiculous. It's fine.
Yeah. It's a bit ridiculous, dude, but like the fact that Voidlings can slow. Same thing as Tibbers.
Yep.
The fact that Tibbers can slow you when he slaps you. It's like not Tibbers doesn't hold the scepter.
It's just one of the added bonuses to Malzahar, like his initial power spike on 2 items, Morellas and Rylai's, is already so cost efficient. And the fact that he gets more out of Rylai's than majority of other champions, like almost to an Azir level, is what kind of tips him over for me.
Meanwhile, Endless and Caveman are able to move down towards the bottom lane, take down the bottom lane outer turret. However, Crystal's already on the top side of the map. Flandre already got a lot of damage on towards this top lane outer turret, so he just stands up here and takes that down for his team, trading turrets back and forth.
He's losing a lot of chip damage on the bottom inner, however, so out of position because Flandre can't hold this, especially with Dandy now there to threaten the task.
They get that bottom lane inner turret down to below half its health. Dandy even shows up just to make sure that Endless and Caveman are safe and draw multiple members of Snake down towards the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, meanwhile, EasyHoon working mid lane, could afford to be hitting it, but doesn't have vision of where Snake are. They actually have... Well,
they found sofm, he's forced to flash away, does get hit by the body slam, but EasyHoon not in range to get the ultimate off.
Okay, let's take counter now. That's 0 for 3 on the Ashe arrows.
One was flashed.
True. I'll give it 0.5 to 3.
Alright, I'll give you that one. Definitely not connecting the arrows, and Vici aren't getting the pick composition together. Just think of it that if the Ashe arrow does hit, the Malzahar can hit, the Gragas can hit, the Echo can stun, Talmkench can eat them if it comes down to it to keep them within the area. Because one misses, it feels like the whole jigsaw is missing its corner piece.
Still forces the flash coming out from sofm, so at least doesn't have that down now. Vici They want to contest for this blue buff and take it away from Snake. Snake seem like they want to go for the fight. Tank going in. He's on top of Vici and gets locked down. Forces use the QSS and the ultimate on himself. Caveman will eat up the Malzahar. Danny's going to be first to fall as Jay-Z actually picks up that first kill. Now Caveman's in trouble. Gets separated from the team. The pillar comes out to stop him. Lung's running the complete wrong way, but Snake pick up 2 picks.
And Snake is going to rip through the rest of Vici right here, picking up Long.
Let's use the ultimate to get back to safety. Will flash away. Jay-Z flashes forward, puts another pillar down. Tank gets that kill. It's Endless flashing forward, gets a double kill. Now he's on top of Flandre, slowing him down. Will be able to force him to flash away or at least bounce towards the blue buff. SOM even has to save them, but Endless steps up strong to make it a 3 for 2.
Okay, that's fine, Endless. You missed your arrows. That will compensate for it. But the reason why Snake were so keen to start that fight is because they knew the key ultimate in the Ash arrow was down. So very aggressive and maybe miscalculated aggression by Vici to try to contest that anyway with a big primary cooldown not available.
Something else really cool that happened there, I do hope we get to see the replay of it, is the Tank's engaging, and he does have the early QSS, albeit too early because he has items past it, but the fact that he can go in then represents that Malzahar needs to reactively ult him. He QSS's ult himself and is perfectly fine as we get to see the work that Lung and Endless do.
Of course, in the back of that team fight, Long surviving for so long and chipping down so many members of Snake to allow Endless this pickup duty. Of course, unfortunate that Crystal did flash into the wall.
Yeah, and say what you will as well about the players. Never mind that.
We're fighting again.
It was Lung doing all of the work to set Endless up. He was just picking it up. He was janitor in that last fight.
Vici now looking to try and continue pushing here as the mid lane outer turret is their structure of choice. Now the turrets are 3 to 2 in Vici's favor. They still have about a 2,000 gold lead for themselves, as Dragon's going to be coming back up in about a minute's time.
So my concern for Vici is normally they have to get ahead early and really start snowballing structure advantages to amass a massive gold lead to compensate for their inability to 5v5. They are not a great team fighting team, which really makes them struggle in a region like the LPL. Now, they have gotten better at it, but they're very lucky in this particular matchup because Snake are also one of the weaker teams when it comes to 5v5ing.
I'll still call this early game to mid-game, right? So they're still yet to actually execute on their full strategy. But look at the way Vici has set up the Rift right now with straight wards down from the top near Baron all the way to below Dragon, which means they can rotate seamlessly knowing where Snake are going to be. They're prepared to fight around this early game point, and if they win the next fight, same thing applies for Snake, and their strategy will be that much easier to implement because a second Drake of Fire is on the line.
Well, that next fight could definitely be around that Dragon pit. For now, Snake are the ones with the vision control over the pit. 2 good pink wards placed down, as well as a lot of vision wards to kind of spot out Vici as they make their way through the river, trying to sweep out as many wards as possible and take control of it once again for the team. Tank during this time is foot pushing down on the bottom side of the map, just getting the wave going, and there is a deep teleport. Crystal going to use the spell shield to block the arrow. Wants some Raptors for himself, but Vici, they want to fight. Jay-Z going to get locked down and picked off immediately by Vici as the 5-man roaming squad of the team. Tank takes him down easy. There goes Tank, looking to go in. He's going to get locked down, but use the ultimate on himself. Now it's Snake that are collapsing. Danny's in a lot of trouble. Lung, though, he's in the back lines on top of Crystal. He's trying to cut away from the Echo. Will get locked down by Tank, who's out of mana. And suddenly Endless is charging up forward as well. Tank's going to be the first one to fall. And Vici turn around the team fight.
And this is the Lung show, to be perfectly honest. Yes, the pick was great. Dandy hits an immaculate cask and it's followed up by EasyHoon, but that's a lot of work for one member of Snake that isn't a carry. Round that out with Lung putting in overtime to get them these one-team fights, and this is great work from Vici.
And the beauty of it is that it wasn't dependent on the arrow. Yes, the arrow was spell shield, but they were just in a superior position due to that great vision line that Rusty had brought up earlier that Vici had set up.
Well, there was only one place that they actually could have been by a process of elimination. They walked through the Raptors, cleared one spot of wards. They had to be there. I
do want to point out, though, that even though Tank died, he did exactly, as I said, the great Lissandras do. He hit his claw through terrain and made sure that it was right on top of Vici for a beautiful engagement before they realized what hit them. Unfortunately, did not have the follow-up.
And with that, Vici were able to take down the second Infernal Dragon for themselves. Next Dragon Swarm is going to be a Mountain Dragon. So lots of combat Drakes coming out in this game. We even see another QSS being picked up on Summoner's Rift. Endless decided to pick that one up before he completes his Infinity Edge on the Ash. Has the Runon's Hurricane completed already.
I mean, he gets the luxury to do that because he is ahead of the clock due to his score line, 4-0-2 right now. Can afford to expend some gold to the side, although he is delaying a pretty necessary power spike in the Infinity Edge.
As the Rylai's Crystal Scepter as well as the Morellonomicon has been picked up by Easy Hoon in the mid lane. Long looking to be a little bit cheeky here. Puts down the power of Verges, looking to try and collapse onto Tank. Does get the stun, getting a lot of slows down as well, forcing the Tank to use the claw and the ultimate as well on top of Long to get him to safety.
Yeah, having the Iceborne Gauntlet means it is extremely sticky. Same thing applies with the Trinity Force for move speed, but all of those slows, Tank has to expend a lot to get himself out alive. Better safe than sorry, I will say.
And the different breakpoints between these two top laners, the fact that Flandre is still just working with the immediate Trinity Force, doesn't have his resistances built up, whereas Long on the other side, not only does he have that Iceborne as well as the Spirit Visage available.
That's the other big thing as well. The timing of that fight actually coincides with the mid-game build that Long's going towards. It's cheaper to go Iceborne Gauntlet into Spirit Visage, means he's immediately got defensive stats. Flandre's one item away. Even after the Spirit Visage, he needs armor.
There's the arrow, not going to connect. sofm forced to use the repel, but he's still getting locked down, and Vici get a very easy pick onto Snake's jungler.
Inexcusable that he used his repel. Flash it, because you're repelling to nothing. There is nowhere to go for you but death. And now Vici, they kick off a Baron on the back of the jungler being dead.
And the only answer that Snake have is they have to fight this because they don't have the smite available for a steal.
Well, they're going to look for it. The teleport's coming in from Morello, but Baron already down to 1,000 health, does get picked up by Vici. Flandre goes in at the same time. Crystal's been knocked back into the team. Atlas can be able to take him down. Easy flashes away from Flandre, but Long already on top of the Aurelia. The body bomb comes in. Vici not only take down the Baron, but get 2 kills as well.
They're methodically tearing Snake apart at every corner right now. Easy Hoon up into the top lane, prepping the way for them, so they're going to be able to rotate this into a very easy and free objective.
The best part about this entire game has been how Vici is setting themselves up for it. Through vision, through being there first, before Snake are reacting to the objective. If they put the first foot forward, Vici look like they can't be stopped.
Using the Baron buff, they immediately move towards the top side map, taking down the top lane inner turret, and then using the Baron empowered recalls to head back to base, get the next items, and look for the next turret to siege.
They have a lot of options for them. They can start prepping waves in both bottom and mid.
In elo hell.
That's unfortunate.
95-0, and the Trundle support did more than both of them. I feel so bad for Flandre.
So naturally, if you're new to the LPL, the graph at the bottom is damage done to champions, and you can see that there are quite a few members of Snake that did participate in damage to champions.
sofm was dead. Immediately, Crystal got knocked back into the team and exhausted.
It's a shame to say it like that. Yes, they did no damage, but it was really good from Vici, right? Dandy knocks him in.
Check out Vici's item. Look at all those pink wards. They are ready to start setting up very aggressive forward vision.
They're advancing.
Well, they do have the Baron buff available for themselves for the next minute and a half.
I like to think of them as moving the chains. It's a football reference. You're just like slowly first down after first down, just moving the chains, inching up the field. It's never like the big Hail Mary passes. It's just continuous running.
Well, hopefully Snake can put on some good red zone defense here as we move Vici closer and closer towards their nexus.
That's right, Captain.
Bold move.
As they're looking to try and siege up the bottom lane inner turret. They take that one down. Endless will pick that one up for his team. It's now only the mid lane inner turret left for Snake that's outside of their base. And it seems like Vici's just going to walk through mid lane and take that down as well.
It's a easy blueprint right now. Bot, mid, they can then fall back onto Dragon. If Snake choose to toe the line, get caught out, it will immediately snowball into an inhibitor.
Interestingly enough, we are looking at a heat map, but the vision that Snake have placed, you saw Vici walking through before trying to clear it with pinks. They're all in very unusual places to the point where the pink wards aren't actually spotting them at all. Snakes still have vision, albeit unusual.
For now, Vici's still trying to siege up this mid lane inner turret. Snake wants to defend this turret, so putting up as good as a siege, counter siege, as they possibly can.
Yeah, putting the Trundle Pillar behind the cannon creep to make sure that Crystal can safely approach the creep, because obviously getting around the pillar for Vici is going to be difficult, so they can clear that out. So good team effort from Jay-Z there.
I don't think Long will go for anything too crazy, but he's a super tank, so he can afford to do this. Snake is still scaling. they have a lot of farm on Crystal, and by bringing the minions towards him, they're feeding him more. So Vici need to start making the plays.
Well, they do make the first play, which is to take down the mid lane inner turret. Lung actually getting stopped from getting back towards his safe side of the map by that Trundle pillar that came out from JZ.
And again, the onus on there to make a play is on Vici. They definitely have the tools to do so, but again, Snake understand that if they take a bad fight there, it's immediately the inhibitor. So just playing it very cautious, very clean, amassing all of that farm onto Crystal.
But sticking to Vici's play style, the team of 1,000 cuts, they move straight towards the Mountain Dragon that just spawned, and they take that down with the remaining time of the Baron buff that they had.
It's a game of percentage. They take the 1% plays. They don't go for any 50-50s. Vici know what they can take and they go for it. They make sure that what they're taking will not be contested.
And they've amassed a nice 7,000 gold lead for themselves. 10-3 in kills, 6-2 in turrets, and 3 dragons to 1. Vici are approaching the late game, and that's where Vici really look to be incredibly strong in the LPL.
I almost think the opposite for Vici in the sense that late game is really about the execution of the big 5v5s. It's snowballing. Like, it makes sense because they want to be grouped up together and moving as a unit, but I wouldn't necessarily say late game. It's kind of like past tower break.
That was a Hail Mary.
Dumping it downfield.
We're
That's
going
all
to keep going with the references.
I know you guys like the rugby references, but...
Well, Ernest misses another arrow there, so not putting on his best Deft impersonation in this match so far.
I'll have you know I played Madden 2001. I know about 5 references.
Next team fight, we'll see. We'll see if they set up a scrum.
But now that it seems like Vici just playing things slow and steady, and Snake seem fairly comfortable with that. They just want to farm up and try and get back into this game wherever they can, as you see the gold swing that Vici be able to get from the last 10 minutes.
And it's just a slow rise. It's not like a dramatic back and forth game. This is what we expect from Vici, very much in control. And they're waiting on Baron. So you can see the timer in your window right now, but this is just so the epitome of Vici. They're not going to push forward for anything unless it's 100% that they're going to get it. They're going to just slowly get these pressure points going in mid, top, and bottom, move into the Baron pit, throw down some vision. If they can find a cheeky pick with the arrow, obviously they'll capitalize on it. Otherwise, it's just like playing Yahtzee. Throw out your pick skill shots. If they don't land, reroll.
And it almost forces Snake into taking a fight. You choke them out to the point where they say, I actually have to fight this or I just lose the game from this point onwards. That's where Vici are getting towards. It's a slow-paced style because it involves 3 lanes. You've got to play it out firstly with minion control, vision control, set yourself up, and then execute on a play. It's a bit slow, but it's because it's effective. That's why they're here.
They just force you to passively lose the game. And playing against Vici is very frustrating.
And Snake are just still trying to find whatever resources they can to farm up. Vici still 8,000 gold in the lead here. Next, Baron is going to be spawning in 35 seconds as well, which is something that Vici will definitely look towards trying to take down.
We should be getting the Baron near uncontested. Snake have 30 seconds to move in and place vision, but they haven't gone past where Flandre is right now.
They're just, frankly, on the wrong side of the map.
Well, Vici aren't on the right side of the map at the moment, but they just went back and recalled, so there should be a window there where Snake could have got in. But it's just JZ by himself. He has no team supporting him. And when sofm gets here...
That is an sofm by himself. He has to use the repel to avoid the arrow. Cocoon not even going to land. Forced to flash over the wall. JZ will be there to keep him company and make sure he stays safe. But still, a flash being burnt by Snake's jungler.
He's half health. Baron is now available. They can just immediately start this. It's an Ash Malzahar. So they take it down extremely quickly.
And then augmented by 2 Infernals as well as a Mountain Drake. This is burning.
They do take it down. There are teleports coming in from Flandre, but it's too little too late. Vici, they get the Baron. Now it's a full-blown 5-on-5 fight. As Snake look like they want to retreat from this, but Lung's already in the back lines. Keeping Crystal and sofm occupied. Take us the flash and try to help them out, but Endless is there as well. Looking to try and take him down. Forced to use this on his hourglass, but one auto attack's all it's going to take. As the mid laner for Snake falls, Crystal has gone down as well. They're just chasing down the last few members. Flandre has to run away from a Thang catch. Flashes on the easy hoop, but it's not going to be enough. And with that, Vici, they're able to pick up a team fight as well as the Baron.
And this is how Vici like to play the game. Amass a massive gold deficit in their favor. You can see it's past the 10k mark, and then look towards these late game 5v5s and just mow people over.
An 11,000 gold lead. should be easy for them to just take the base, because conveniently for them, the Baron was already taken due to their 2 Infernals and a Mountain Drake. This should be at least an inhibitor here.
Well, they're looking to push through the mid lane. Mid lane turret falls nice and easy. Inhibitor is going to be the next target for Vici.
They can continue pushing. They have the Ash Arrow.
Well, they're looking for it instead. They knock Jay-Z back. They don't connect him into the team, but they're looking to push for the Nexus turrets. Only the Elise as well as the Trundle left to try and defend this. Endless just focusing down these turrets, and it seems like with this push, Vici are looking for the win. The rest of the members are going to respawn, but the Nexus is the target of choice. Snake are trying to do what they can, but it's not enough. And Vici, they're going to be able to pick up game 1 of this